Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Opposition Report. Today, we have a little bit more of a local one with the up and coming derby, as we're referring it to in the office, against Wycombe Wanderers. I am joined by Dan Clark from the Heroes of HP12. Dan, how are we doing today? You looking forward to the game tomorrow?
I would say yes, it would want a bit more, but cautiously optimistic is probably the better term.
We were talking just off air there about how we kind of seemed intertwined a little bit. Obviously, you're one place above us in the league at the moment, but we've both had very similar starts, lost three, drawn one. Obviously, quite a lot of ex-Wycombe owners and players are now involved with Reading as well, which is sort of a combination between the two clubs. So it'll be an interesting game tomorrow. Let's dive into your season start. As I mentioned previously, you've lost three, you've drawn one, with a loss on Tuesday evening against Exeter. We'll start with that game. First of all, how bad was it? Because just judging by the Wycombe reaction, it wasn't great. What were your thoughts of the game? Obviously, you lost to a grim own goal, but yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
It's an interesting one that so far this season because we're not playing bad stuff. I think it'd be a lot more worrying if we were playing bad and losing. We're playing some good stuff, but we're currently in a bit of a transition. Obviously, Mike Dodds, our manager, came in after Bloomfield left in January, came in February, and didn't change the style too much because obviously we were riding on a wave towards the end of the season. But he's trying to implement a new style now, um, and that takes a bit of bedding in. And we've got a lot of new players. We've had a lot of transitions, a lot of turnover, um, and it's taking time to bed in. I don't think it helps that we've had a bit of a chop and change up top. Obviously, Kone, as widely reported, has gone to QPR, so we're missing our main striker, as it were. And the lad we just brought in from Basel, Bradley Fink, has been injured since the start of the season, so we haven't really had a chance to see our full potential yet. Um, so at the moment, it's not bad. We're playing well, and if you love your stats in football and have a look at them, we're not doing too bad from that respect. But ultimately, the stat that matters at the end of it, at the other end of the pitch, scoring the goals, we need to pick up on. So we're hoping Saturday is the opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah, I was looking at a few of your underlying numbers and it genuinely looks okay. I mean, if you're into sort of expected goals and all that, you're not doing too badly in terms of there, but obviously the result that actually matters hasn't really been going in your favour. It almost seems that you just need something to click. Talking about stats as well, obviously Wycombe have been known over the years for sort of their long ball approach and being down the bottom of the possession table, and now you're right at the top. That must be a bit of a weird feeling as a Wycombe fan going from, I'm not going to say anti-football because that's harsh, long ball football to possession football. That must be a weird feeling.
It's strange because we used to mock the teams we've become. So the fact that we've gone from that gritty long ball. We had Bio up top, and you just lump it to him, and no matter where he was, as long as it got to him, it'd stick to him like Velcro, and no one's getting the ball off of him. But we don't kind of have that anymore. It's strange. It's a very strange feeling, but it's nice. We saw last season, especially with Bloomfield, the level of possession, quick, passing football. It's nice to watch when it works, and it's pretty on the eye. But it's definitely different. The fun thing though is the fact that when you get fans that kind of base their opinions on football from 10, 20 years ago, going, "Oh, Wycombe are just an anti-football side," and we're not anymore. It's quite nice just to see that change and transition, I guess.
Obviously, the man that was responsible for implementing the style, Mike Dodds, he's had a bit of a tough start to life, I would say, at Wycombe. Had a really hard job replacing Matt Bloomfield. Came in at the back end of last season. Obviously, you fell away a little bit and started a bit slowly. What's your thoughts on him overall, and do you think the club can make progress under him?
I think we can. I am very much supportive of what he does. I think with being a new manager, and we saw this with Matt as a perfect example, there's a level of adaptation and change that needs to take place just to kind of as you grow. He's definitely got a set style that he wants to play and he wants to implement that. And we're seeing shoots of that over the last four games, albeit not providing the results at the moment. But yeah, I think he's fine. He's come into a very, very difficult situation when he came in February. We'd had a massive transition in January in terms of the amount of players in and out. Richard Kone was injured for 2 months. All these different factors, and obviously coming on the back of a highly successful period, which had started to dip around December. Um, we kind of just ran out of steam a bit. Um, we've got to give him the chance to do what he wants to do and see how that works. Um, there's a lot of learning for him along the way, being a new head coach. Obviously, he's been kind of, involved in the youth setups at Birmingham, been the assistant manager at Sunderland. So there is that growth. But there's no reason why he can't grow quickly. And as long as he does grow, adapt, learn, and make the system work, then yeah, it'll be successful.
This summer's also been a transition period in terms of transfers as well. I'll just run through it quickly for any running fans that may not be aware. So you've bought in Mickey van der Sas, Junior Quintara, Taylor Allen, Dan Casey, Connor Taylor, Caelan Boyd Muntz, Jamie Mullins, George Abbott, and Bradley Fink. And obviously, outgoing is the big one's been Richard Kone, obviously gone to QPR, Sam Vokes, Franco Rabazzoli, Brandon Hannalan, Joe Lowe, Bez Labala, Tyreek Backinson, Jasper Patterson, Shamal George, Kieran Sedlier, and Adam Reach. Let's address the elephant in the room when it comes to transfer business. Richard Kone, obviously one young player and player of the year last year in League One. He's gone. You've replaced him with Bradley Fink. First of all, how big of a miss will Richard Kone be? And second of all, do you think Fink will be a success and match Richard Kone? And I know that's hard to tell based on the limited amount of football you've seen.
I think that's fair. Rich is always going to be a big miss. I think with any striker. Wycombe are trying to follow the Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth model. And if you look at them as an example, Brentford just quickly, they lost Ollie Watkins, they brought in Ivan Tony, lost Tony, brought in Buemo. He's now gone. They're looking at someone else, whether they replace or not. But you still got that constant churn. Rich was definitely going to play at a high level, and he will. The guy's got the dedication and the heart to do some amazing things, and I'm really looking forward to that. We look back on him like we would with Eze as an example, who came to loan, came to us on loan when he was at QPR in his younger years, and we'll look at that same fondness with Rich and Freddie Potts, who we had on loan from West Ham as well. Fink, as I say, is untested at the moment, but was dubbed as the next Haaland when he was in Dortmund's setup. Scored an absolute shed load of goals for Dortmund's second side when you had your Bellingham's coming up and everything else. He was the one scoring the goals when they were in the side. So, there's every room to suggest, there's every, possibility that he is going to be absolutely fantastic. We just don't know. But I think the model that we're looking at now is we're looking at strength and depth. So rather than, I mean, the sheer list, when you actually go through that list of outgoings, there's a hell of a lot of outgoings. You can see the transition. You can see probably why we haven't started at the moment because there's that gelling period to do. Um, but we've lost three strikers. I think we needed an additional striker in January. Um, but we've lost three strikers and brought in one. So I still think we need maybe one or two. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all star striker and everything else. I think it can be someone that complements Dan Udoh, who we've got as well, and think alongside that gives something a bit different. So very interesting, but exciting all the same.
A name that I've heard quite a lot across the opening few games, Junior Quintara, I think is how you say it. He has obviously been quite.
Jenny, yeah.
What's been your thoughts on him so far?
Junior's absolutely amazing. And if he starts on Saturday, can I just say you're in trouble? Because he is phenomenal. Junior is brilliant. Level of creativity, he's one of those exciting, explosive wingers that just gets on the ball and does something special. I was up at Doncaster on Saturday, and he came on the pitch, completely changed the dynamic in the final third. Our striker looked like a different player because he was there supporting him. And he just gets the ball and he does some good things. We had a pre-season friendly against Tottenham. He scored both our goals in that as well. Just a brilliant player. Um, you know, apparently had some bad luck at Crawley with injuries and things like that. But if he starts starting in our squad a bit more, we've got a very exciting season ahead.
the final player to talk about in terms of recruitment, our scouts in the media team, I will let you guess who they are, have reliably informed me that Taylor Allen had a particularly good game on Tuesday night with some very good crosses that, if there was a centre forward on the pitch, may have turned into a goal or two. Taylor Allen was a player I was jealous of when I saw he was signing for you guys. How good has he been, and how good can he be? He's still quite young.
He's brilliant, and has been really, really good. I think with Taylor, since the start, he's had a bit where he's been in a few different positions. He slotted into left back last night, not last night, Tuesday night, weeks flying by, to replace Dan Harvey, who I think had a knock or something like that. And he's just, for a defender, he gets forward really, really well. Surprised me quite a lot. And there's no, when you see his goal scoring record at Walsall, you think, how's that possible for a defender? But you can kind of see it in the style of play. I think we're allowing him to go a bit more forward, because we're playing to that strength, which is really good. The crosses he was putting in on Tuesday were really, really positive. We just need someone on the end of them. But when you've got a 6'4" Bradley Fink, uh, you know that will come soon, when Bradley gets fit. So yeah, really positive signings, and a lot of the signings we've made have really been really, really good. There's a couple that we haven't seen yet because they're not either up to format sharpness. There's been injuries and things like that, but it's really, really positive.
It's not just on the pitch where there's been quite a big transition. Obviously, off the pitch this summer, there's been a few things added. You originally moved to Harlington, but you're now back at Marlow Road. And also, the academy is now up and coming. I think you've had a few of the guys on the bench the last few games. How's it looking for the club off the pitch? Are you excited about everything that's going on?
Hugely excited. I mean, after the Bearwood fiasco 18 months ago, that was fun, wasn't it? It's been a bit of a move around for us. Marlow Road was always one that, it was close to home anyway. Harlington's obviously there from academy perspective, and that allows us to kind of knock into London and take some good pickings from London, which is good from a strategic point of view. But the investment that they've put into the training facilities, considering, especially when we had Reading fans mocking us for our tin shed, where we were looking to leave Marlow Road a couple of years ago, to where it is now. I'm really, really pleased that it's very, very exciting, to see, from a long-term sustainability perspective. And just to put it into perspective as well, I think, you know, you've always been quite lucky from a Reading perspective that you've had Bearwood, because you've got that Cat 1 Academy. You've got really, really good training facilities. So you've got such a good base to go from. For years, we've been operating at National League, League Two level kind of standard facilities. So for us to kind of push on with that now and have that level of investment in there, not only for how we perform now, but longer term sustainability is just going to be absolutely phenomenal, and it's going to attract players as well. And that's key. The academy for us is huge. The fact that we've already had players, that's the first time in about 10 years that we've had academy players playing for us again. And our academy actually, we've had players like Matty Cash in there, Josh Laurent, Jordan Ibe. Yeah. So it's an absolute shed load of players that we've had come through the system in years. Courtney Howes as well, who's obviously been at Aston Villa, just to name a few. So, we've got a good talent, a good history of, finding talent and bringing it on. So, to build this facility up and build the model up, great for us. Yeah.
Let's move on to the game itself. First of all, what formation are you expecting your manager to go with tomorrow? And then the big question, does Junior start? Because I know a lot of your fans have been clamoring for it.
Fans have been screaming for Junior to start. Um, right. So formation wise, it's been a bit of a difficult one because part of Mike's style is that off possession, non possession, we're two completely different sides. So out of possession, we'll probably be at a 4-2-3-1, and then knocking into 3-4-3 as we knock into possession. So that's kind of what to expect. Hopefully, Junior starts. Potentially not though. We seem to not at the moment, but I think it depends who's fit. I don't know who's fit and who's looking at what from Tuesday. We had a couple come off the bench that can play in those wing positions. I think for me, Junior's got to start. He's very, very good. Very, very good.
Just sort of in my head, I'm just trying to work out how the 3-4-3 works. Is that Grimmer tucking round into the three and then Taylor Allen pushing on and then one of your wingers holding the width? Or how does it kind of, is that how it works?
Yes, it kind of turns a little bit that way, yeah. So you see like Harvey and Allen kind of push up quite a bit more so on the left wing. So you'll see a lot more emphasis on the left. We saw a lot less on the right on Tuesday, and sometimes that's because Fred Onyedinma, who usually plays right wing, he's quite further up. So in terms of where he is in relation to Jack in the build-up play, he's a bit further away, whereas obviously left we're interlinking a bit more. So I could probably see a lot more down the left. There's no secret to that. I'm not giving away any trade secrets here because it's quite evident from the style of play that we've been playing. Um, but yeah, you'll see a lot more down the left. And to be honest with you, that's when we bring Junior on, it kind of shifts that balance again. Um, but we've got, players that, for example, in the middle of the park, you've got Luke Leahy. So whenever our left back goes bombing up the wing, Luke Leahy slips back. So,
It's
it's
flip.
all into shifting and more complicated beyond my footballing skill expertise anyway.
Can I get a score prediction for the game as well, please?
I've gone 1-1. I'm going to stick with the one that I went with on the podcast that we did this Wednesday. We seem to be, and just to prepare the Reading fans, if you aren't in a scoring mood at the moment, neither are we. So it's
Mm.
going to be 0-0 in the first half. You probably will score early on in the second half, and then we'll equalise, and it'll be 1-1. That's what I'm going with.
Is there a fear of if we were to score early on Saturday that the atmosphere within Adams Park would turn a little bit sour, or do you think the home fans will kind of be accepting?
It's it's a mixed bag at the moment. I think every fan base has its fair share of difficult fans. I think we can all say that. Um, I think potentially it could be very, very interesting. Um, but there are a lot of people who can see the longer term ideas and projects. And, in the grand scheme of things, I think we're right to be constructive, in what we think. I think some of the negativity has been really sad to see from our perspective because obviously at the end of the day we're Wycombe Wanderers, at the moment for us to sit there saying pushing for promotion in League One every season, we weren't thinking of this 10 years ago. So not that we shouldn't be grateful or should be grateful for it. But yeah, it's got the potential to turn that way, but I just hope it doesn't.
Let's speak about the long term. This season, where are Wycombe finishing?
Yeah, I had him second in my initial predictions. I know. That was promising, wasn't it? Um, I still think we can do well, and the reason I think that is because one, we're only 4 games in, but two, when you look at Charlton and Orient last season, Orient were 21st on near Christmas, and they went into the playoff final. Charlton did exactly the same. I know we've had a rocky start, and we're already quite a few points behind where they are at the top, but it only takes a few games, takes a decent run of form. If we look at our run of form last season when we won, like we were winning on the trot all the time. There's no reason why we can't shoot up that table again. So yeah, we've got the resources, we've got the infrastructure to do it. We've got a week and a bit of a window to see if there's any more that we can bring in and shell out and see what we can do.
It's funny because us as running fans are near enough saying the exact same thing. A week left of the window, see who we can bring in. We've still got a long way to go this season. Orient and Charlton starting poorly are one thing that we keep trying to remind ourselves as well. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me today, Dan. Where can Reading fans check out the stuff if they want to find out a little bit more about Wycombe?
So I'm going to be selfish here. You
Go
can
for it.
find out a lot from the Heroes of HP12. We've had your main man Rob Couhig on there a couple of times when he was Wycombe chairman as well. So we tend to give a bit of a balanced view of Wycombe. If you're interested, anyway, I appreciate with it being a bit local, you might think, no, I'm not going to listen to them, but fine. Um, but obviously, to be honest with you, our Twitter kind of sphere, Wycombe Twitter is quite active, and I know, to be honest with you, since Bearwood. I've kind of had my Reading and Twitter kind of, if it was a Venn diagram, it would be a complete Venn diagram at the moment. It's mixed into the two. So I quite familiar with the Reading sphere, as it were, at the moment as well. So if you want to delve into the Wycombe side of things, that's where to go.
Thank you very much for joining me today, Dan, and come on, you R's.